Welcome everybody to the Music Show. I'm Ray Braselton, your host.
And I'm Nick Rita, co-host.
Today we have for you Bobby Henrie and the Goners, rockabilly group, and they are a long distance away, Middlesex area, and you know, that area.
Yeah,
and
I forget where else.
well, there's one guy from Rochester, but
yeah,
this is a rockabilly band,
right.
And if you're familiar with rockabilly, it's a show too.
It's a nice a trio.
And
the guitar, upright bass, and the drums. It's really tight, and it's a good example of what rockabilly is all about. So if you're interested in that kind of music, or even if you're not, from an educational standpoint, it gives you another form of music that under your belt that you can recognize and enjoy.
They're quite professional. I believe they basically, they're living.
They've been together for 30 years.
Yeah,
I
so
think they said 85, if I'm not mistaken.
So it's a group you want to see today. We got some interesting questions for them, but things that, like Uncle Nick was saying, you might learn from a perspective of just learning about things, particularly about the rockabilly groups. You'll get some questions out there.
It'll be quite an interesting program tonight, I think.
And then,
as usual, it's something different. We try to get as much different things as we can, and we'll have the
regular stuff that we always have. Of course, you know, we have our interview of the group, and we'll have a showcase, and we'll have. We'll just have the round table.
A little bit different.
A little bit different today. We're going to combine the interview with the showcase, so you can watch it.
Yeah, that'll be interesting, and of course, Uncle Nick's Corner. Right. We'll do all that.
So everybody, I hope you can stay tuned. And
what do you mean? Hope they can? They better.
They better,
if
or
they
else,
know what's
right?
good for them.
Stay tuned, everybody.
Yeah, don't touch that remote.
Hi, we are Bobby Henrie and the Goners, and we're going to do an old-fashioned rock and roll song that uses the phrase, "I'll be a monkey's uncle." Well, I'm feeling mighty fine, I'm going on a spending spree. I'm in the morning like a monkey when he's hanging from a coconut tree. I'll be a monkey's uncle if I don't jump like a chimpanzee. I got a date with my baby, go into the jungle and that's where 8 cats meet and they bring along a baboon friend. Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle if I don't mind me jumping in. When the music gets started, they don't stop, they go reeling and rolling, and then they rock. The music they were playing in the jungle beat, well, they were dancing like a monkey in a coconut tree. Well, everybody was jumping, things were really getting high. My baby old rhythm, she was jumping like a spinning top. Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle if the music don't ever stop. Don't let it, boy. The music they were playing and a jungle beat, well, they were dancing like a monkey in a coconut tree. Well, everybody was jumping, baby, things were really getting hot. My baby go rhythm, she was jumping like a spinning top. Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle if the music don't ever stop. Don't ever stop. Music gets started, they don't stop, they go reeling and they're rolling, and then they rock. The music they were playing and the jungle beat, well, they were dancing dancing like a monkey in a coconut tree. Well, everybody was jumping, baby, everything was ready to get in high. Oh, baby, go further, she was jumping like a spinning top. I'll be a monkey's uncle if the music don't ever stop. Oh boy, don't let it.
Welcome everybody again to the music show and our segment, our interview segment with Bobby Henrie and the Goners. Did I get that right, Bobby?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. I will go around and kind of introduce everybody, and we'll start with Bobby. Your name and where you're from, area you're from, instrument you play.
First of all, I'd like to thank you, Ray, for having us on the music show.
I'm flattered.
Thanks for having us. My name is Bobby Henrie, and I'm from Middlesex, New York, a little small town about an hour south of Roch.
And your instrument is the electric. You do lead and rhythm and everything.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
That's what I have to do.
Keep it going. Okay. And go ahead.
Brian Williams. I play the old doghouse here, the bull fiddle. I'm from Ionia, New York, halfway between Rochester and where Bobby hangs his hat in Middlesex.
Wow.
I'm the city boy of the band.
Rochester?
Yes, Rochester, New York. My name's James Simons.
Obviously plays the drums.
Drumming. Yeah.
And I'm Ray Braselton, your host, but I already told you that, so we won't go into that. But I just wanted to mention these instruments, I was looking at them, they're all old. Let's just talk about the instruments, guys. They seem like they're almost antiquish. How old is that one?
This one here isn't. It's about from the mid-'80s, but it is sort of a reissue style of the made by disgruntled Gibson factory workers who started their own factory and started making Gibson-style guitars for a lot cheaper prices.
Yeah,
So,
but it is sharp looking, especially on camera.
Thank you.
It looks really nice.
Thank you.
Very good. And then we got the Slingerland, which is actually old.
Yeah, these drums are
yeah,
old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's been around for a while, right?
It's an early set, early 30s.
Gee, is that old?
Yeah, somewhere between 1930 and 1935.
Yeah,
Set of Slingerlands.
that belonged to your grandfather or something?
Older than no, I was just fortunate enough to
that's fine.
start collecting old drums a long time ago, because people were throwing them out, and
We got all these antiques because we couldn't afford the new ones, so
cymbals
and now
were-
they're worth money, right?
yeah, cymbals were
Probably.
always more expensive, so I needed to grab old used drums so I could afford cymbals.
And I would say something about this 1600, circa 1600 bass fiddle, but it.
Oh, wait a minute. No. This is not 1600. This bass was based on the serial number inside here. It was made in 1950. It's an old K bass. And my guess is that brand new in 1950, it probably costs about 60 or 70 bucks.
Oh my gosh, you couldn't get it.
And I paid a little bit more than that for it. A friend of mine happened to have it in his living room. He was kind of having it there as a piece of furniture, and I thought, well, wait a minute, I got to talk to this guy. But just to give you an idea, if you were into investing, if you had bought this for 60 bucks back then, it would be worth about $3,000.
Yeah, man.
There you go.
Well, so much for our showcase. This is supposed to be the interview, guys. But in any case, I just, again, I do welcome you all, and thank you so much for being on the program. We had a scout out. It was our Uncle Nick, our co-host, and he saw you guys playing somewhere. And then I called Brian, and we got you on the show.
And here we are.
And we're so glad to have you because we've had only one other rockabilly group, and I think you know who that was.
Kent Nelson's group.
Our buddies, the Go Cats.
Yep, you Go Cats. And but you guys a little bit different sound, a little bit different technique, I'd say, or.
Yeah, we tend to mix things up more, I would say, you know, rockabilly and swing and everything in between, I would say.
Yeah,
you know.
well, it's good to have a different sounding rockabilly. You do have a style, kind of, you know, compared to, you're not the same old rockabilly that a lot of groups are.
Well, we love all that stuff. We love all the rockabilly, but we also like to play, you know, swing as much as we can with guitar, bass, and drums. You know, a trio playing swing.
Real good work. You got my wife and I dancing up here for a while. We embarrassed ourselves, but nevertheless, or I embarrassed my wife.
Looked great to me.
But I had a couple questions. I guess I was wondering, like, when you guys actually, how long have you been playing rockabilly? I mean, not necessarily this group, but how long have you been playing rockabilly?
Well, that's hard to say. I don't think these guys ever played it strictly before until
they met you.
Yes. I
thought that was coming up.
Well, to be fair, we all have been listening to it and had it in our blood for many, many years before we got together. Yeah. And Bobby was the catalyst for bringing me and Jimmy together, and that was in 1985.
So that's what was going to be my next question. Yes. So you've been playing since 1985
together.
Oh, that's. I mean, together as a group.
That's right.
Wow. Now, my next question, you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but like, do you ever play? Like, you're out there and somebody says, "Well, would you do Moon River?" Well, no, you probably wouldn't do that. But do you play other song, anything?
If we know it, we'll do it. But that one would probably be a tough one.
Yeah,
I mean, if it's
I would think it would be tough to play. You know, get too much away from the the rockabilly music, because you're there. The way you're dressed, your performance is very rockabilly. I would think it would be hard to play too many other songs.
Oh no, Ray! No.
Okay,
We mix it up. You'd be surprised how far we go.
Good.
We just sort of get, we just get a little jazzy sometimes.
That's right.
You know, that's we're trying to broaden our horizons that way.
But I've never been attacked on my own show like that. That was interesting. but I'm glad, because you need to get that out. You do other stuff once in a while, so that's good to hear. Well, I better go to another question. Now, do you the attire that you wear? You know, not only do your instruments seem to me old-fashioned and old, and they are, but your attire is it like a 50s style to a large degree? I mean, the shoes, obviously, and I don't know if you can get a close shot of his shoes, but they're, I don't know, I was thinking saddle shoes is what they call, but what are they called, those kind of shoes?
These are mostly the two-tone wingtip.
Two-tone wingtip.
That's right.
Yeah. And were they popular back in the 50s?
Yeah, especially with Bing Crosby. He wore a pair like these in high society.
What, was it
1958.
Pat Boone, too?
Well, he liked white bucks.
Okay.
And so did Elvis. It's very hard for us to find two-tone shoes anymore, especially the old ones. And there are some companies out there that are making some new ones. These are new.
Now, as far as like the clothing that you wear, you do wear clothing, and you do the act when you're up here for the 50s. You really do, and you also all have kind of your own personality, and I think that's neat how that works in with the 50s style. Because were they back in the 50s? They usually were more uniform, though, weren't they, in the 50s? Or would the rockabilly bands tend to be a little different?
Well, yeah, it depends on what the gig was or what it was. You know, a lot of times they wore suits.
Yeah,
you know,
with ties.
And, just regular suits, and the only thing that was rockabilly was the hair, the pompadours.
Right.
You know, depend on the gig, obviously, and then more the greaser thing came in. You know, leather jackets and rolled up jeans.
Well, it's an interesting look. I tried to make my attire as close to you guys as I could. I didn't do a good job, but now you guys all play around quite a bit. I mean, you play out quite a bit. Probably play around too, but what I mean is you play out.
Yes, especially these days.
Yeah. And you play at different venues in this area, or you play from Ithaca all the way to Rochester? What areas?
Yeah, mostly regionally. Mostly regionally.
Any particular place that you come to every year and do?
Well, as far as nightclubs in Rochester area, we've done a lot of them over the years. You know, the ones that will take this kind of roots rock music. But you know, we're doing a lot at the Dinosaur Barbecue.
Oh.
these days.
Very popular place.
Eveline.
Yeah.
Those are
another
two
one.
good places. Those are like the main places now for this kind of music that we do. So
that's here in Rochester, right? All those.
yeah,
places.
those two are.
Is there any places you want to mention out in any other areas?
Well, we've got the festivals. That
Yeah, that's different than the nightclubs. Yes, we do a lot of those.
Yeah.
We have on occasion sprouted wings and flown to the West Coast and played up in Washington State, the Pacific Northwest, just to mix it up a little bit.
Well, you guys play out all the time because I saw your website and you're just booked all over, and that's basically what you do for a living is play out. And,
Yes, I do, and so does Brian.
Yeah. Wow. That's.
Jim's got a nice day job.
Well, it's good to have a little extra on the side. I'll tell you that.
Yes, he's prepared.
So, just wanted to make sure that we did get about. You do have a CD that you've had out for a little while, and you can get these CDs where?
You can get them at the Bop Shop in downtown Rochester near Village Gate Plaza, and also check out the Record Archive.
Good.
Yep.
Can you give us a website or how you get them to your website?
Absolutely. Our website is myspace.com/Bobby Henrie and the Goners.
Okay.
That's spelled BOBBY Very important.
Earlier.
HENRIE and the Goners. Bobby Henrie and the Goners. myspace.com/Bobby Henrie and the Goners.
And it's right there at the bottom of your screen. You guys see it right there? It's floating right there. See it?
Yep, I see it.
Yeah, okay.
And you spelled it right, too, Ray. That's good.
Yeah, we try to spell it right. Nice having you guys here.
Thank you.
We got a little more to do, though. You're not off the hook yet, so we're going to get back to work. So you guys stay tuned for some great music, okay? We'll see you in a little bit.
On a crazy scene where the cats are dead, son Johnny and Jean. Well, I love those cats and the Bop That Just Won't. Dig that bop, it's a crazy thing. They got rhythm and rock, jump and swing. Well, I love that sound and the Bop That Just Won't. The real blue Bob is hard to find. Jump into some Johnny and Jean, who's craziest thing you've ever seen. All of a sudden I start to fail when I saw this chick with a crazy cake. She's a real blue doll I'd like to meet, with the real dog style and a flying feet. Well, I love that gal and Bop That Just Won't.
Hi, You caught me practicing again. That's a rare thing these days. You know, it's interesting. People think, you know, if you're teaching guitar, you're playing a lot. But I know what happens in my case. I have to really carve out time in order to practice because, you know, with 30 or so students a week, you're spending a lot of time teaching. And when you're teaching, you're not always playing the things that are good for you to advance. A little bit later in another segment, I'm going to do a little bit on advancing and being where you are and what to work on. But today what I wanted to talk about are those 2-5-1 chords. Now in a lot of music, jazz especially, that progression, that 2-5-1 is one that you hear all over the place. Certain songs have 2-5-1s and repeat them in different keys, and you hear them all the time. But in the key of, let's say the key of C, I have a D minor 7, then I go to a G7, and then I can go to a C major 7. That was a 2-5-1. And those are just basic 4-note chords. Now those 4-note chords, I think I covered one time before, but it would behoove us. I love that word, behoove. And if you hear me use it, sit up and take notice because it's a really favorite word of mine. But anyway, it would behoove us to look at those again if I did look at them before. Let's take, for instance, a chord form where we have the root on the 6th string. I'm going to have the 7th on the 4th string, the 3rd on the 3rd string, and the 5th on the 2nd string. This is a G major 7. I have G, F sharp, B, D. That gives us a G major 7. Now, if I wanted to spell a G dominant 7 chord, or any dominant 7 chord, and I wanted to spell it from using that 1, 3, 5, 7 way of doing it, I would talk about that chord being a 1, 3, 5 flat 7. And like I said, on the 3rd string or the 4th string, I have that F sharp. If I flat that, make it an F natural, it becomes a G7. Likewise, I can spell a minor 7 chord by thinking about flatting the 7th, but also flatting the 3rd. The 3rd and the 7th in a chord are very important. The 7th will give it the bite, whether it's a major 7. Here's a major 7. Here's a dominant 7. But the 3rd, if we flat it, gives us a tonality. So in other words, now it's no longer a major or a dominant sounding chord. It's a minor sounding chord. So those are the 3 that I can derive from there. There's 2 others I can derive, but for today's discussion, all we want to really look at are those 3. We want to look at a major 7, dominant 7, and a minor 7. And I'm going to do that a little quicker on other sets of strings. For instance, if I do the inside 4 strings, I have 1, 5, 7, 3. In this case, it's a C major 7. This being on the 3rd string being the 7, I could flat that and get a C dominant 7. And if I flat the 3rd, I have a C major 7. On the first set of 3 strings, I have a similar pattern, 1, 5, 7, 3. And again, if I flat the 7 and bring it down here, it's a dominant 7. This happens to be the F dominant 7. Now, if I flat the 3rd, I have an F minor 7. Notice on those chords, I never used any open strings. In some instances, I can use an open string if, for instance, I'm using an E minor 7 and I want to play the low E. Or if I bring that up here to an A minor 7 and play the A, that works. But in general, all of these have just closed strings. Whenever we have that, whether it be a power chord, a bar chord, or these 4-note configurations, we can move them and they become other chords based on whatever the root would be. For instance, here's a G major 7, A major 7, B major 7. Now, if you did the math on this, we have 3 different chord forms. Technically, we can get it anywhere on the fingerboard, gives us 12 different chords. 12 times 3 is 36. That's 36 different chords that you can play. It would seem an insurmountable chore to try to memorize all those, but there's always a way if you take and bring little bites out of it and use it on the fingerboard. And what I'm talking about, back to that 2-5-1 situation. Now in this case, I can pick any key and start with any chord form and go a 2-5-1. In this case, what I want to do is start on the A minor 7. Now if you do the math on that, you'll find out, you'll think, okay, A minor 7, if that's a 2, what would be the 1? Well, we go down a half step or a whole step, G major 7. So we're going to go from the A minor 7 to a G major 7. But in between, we're going to put a 5 chord. What would the 5 chord? What is the 5 chord for a G major 7, or in the G key of G? It would be a D7. So I'm starting out with this one form here, an A minor 7, and I'm going to go up to this D dominant 7 on the 5th fret. Then I'm going to go down to the G major 7, and I'm going to give one measure each to the 2 to 5, but on the 1 I'm going to give that 2. Now, to spread this out a little bit more and give you some kind of a little exercise to work on, I could then on the next measure change that to a G minor 7, which would now put me in the key of F, right? Here's where I'm going to go. So G minor 7, C major 7, F major 7. Notice I'm running out of fingerboard here. So if I wanted to, I could make a change, 3, 4, and now I'm using that other form, the one that's a 1, 2, 3, for the major 7. I'm going to turn that into a minor 7. It's going to be an F minor 7. That's put me in the key of E flat. The chord that I want to play there is a B flat 7 for the 5. And then I can play a E major 7, or E flat major 7. Then if I wanted to, and keep in mind, I can move these any way I want. I'm just picking out a way that I would be doing it as I think it. I'm now going to transfer up to here, that E flat major 7. E flat minor 7 is going to put us in the key of D flat, and while this sounds like a lot, as you get to it, as you look at it, it's really not, because the number 5 is an A flat 7. Then I'm going to go to a D flat major. Now we're going to go to that D flat major, but we have a weirdness happening there. So just stay with me on this. Now we're going to change this to a C sharp minor 7. It's the same thing, but now we're going to be in the key of B. And in the key of B, we have a C sharp minor 7, F sharp 7, B. And I'm going to change up to here. Then I'm going to go to the key of A, B minor 7, E7, yes, A major, and voila, we're back to the A minor 7. What we actually did there, we did 2-5-1s, and we dropped it one step each time we did it. Now, if we started that one fret higher, we'd come up with other keys, similar keys, a little different, give us a little different perspective. If we started with one half step lower, 1 fret lower, we'd also get a different perspective on that. And that's what guitar is, really. It's just a matter of perspective, where you're looking from. The 2-5-1, again, is a very, very usual thing, the thing that you see quite a bit. In another session in the future, I plan on doing substitution. So instead of, like, say, here's a D minor 7, G7, C major 7. I could put this, which is a D minor 9, And then I can go to this, D minor 9, and then, I'm sorry, I played the wrong chord. D minor 9, G7 with a flat 9, then a C6 9. But we'll go into some of those substitutes and see some of the other things that we can do with that. But until next time, this is Uncle Nick saying, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Hey, this is a little rockabilly love song I put together. Describes who we are. It's called I'm a Goner Over You. 1, 2, 3, 4. You've been talking, baby, all night long. You keep telling me that you've been gone. You keep telling me there's nothing I can do. I can't help it if I'm still in love with you, but you got roll. Well, move on down the line. You'll be gone. Well, I know there's nothing I can do, but baby, I'm a goner over you. I'm a goner, baby, that's no lie. Won't you help me when you hear me cry? Won't you help me, baby, never go away? Ain't nothing I won't do to try to make you stay, but you got roll. Well, move on down the line. You'll be gone. Well, I know you say our love is through, but baby, I'm a goner over you. I've been wondering, baby, since we met, how completely played gone I get. I've been wondering, baby, never had a clue. Now I understand because I'm losing you, but you got gold. Well, move on down the line. You'll be gone. Well, I know there's nothing I can do, but baby, I'm a goner over you. Let's go. Baby, that's no lie. Won't you help me when you hear me cry? Won't you help me, baby, never go away? Ain't nothing I won't do to try to make you stay, but you got home. Well, move on down the line. You'll be gone. Well, I know you say our love is through, but baby, I'm a goner over you. Over you. Let's go. We're going to do a rockabilly like they used to do on those late 50s, early 60s TV variety shows like Town Party. This one's called Any Place is Paradise When I'm With You. 1, 2, 3. Well, whether it's riding down the highway or walking down the street, It makes no difference, baby, doll, just where we happen to meet. I try to hold your little hand, make me feel so very nice. Any place is paradise when I'm with you. Whether it's standing on a doorstep or sitting in a park, or strolling down a shady lane, or dancing in the dark, I'll try to take you in my arms, gaze into your lovely eyes. Any place is paradise when I'm with you. Right. Take a cave up in the mountains, a shack down by the sea. I will pick in heaven, honey, if you were there with me, where I can kiss your pretty lips, see the love light in your eyes. Any place is paradise when I'm with you. We got even lit in the jungle, asleep up in a tree. They let the rest of the world go by. If you were there with me, where I can love you all the time, even the jungle will be fine. Any place is paradise when I'm with you.
Welcome everybody to the round table segment of the music show, and I'm Ray Braselton, your host.
And I'm Nick Rita, co-host.
And we have had Bobby Henrie and the Goners. That's it, Bobby Henrie and the Goners with us today, and you did a great job.
Great
Really
to be here,
appreciate
guys.
you being
Yep.
with us, and
Yep.
Yes, thank you very much for having us.
yes,
We had a
and
good time.
It's good. So why don't we go right down and the line here and introduce everybody, but we're going to start from that end. We'll start with
Okay.
you, Jim. And what instrument you playing?
Well, did Nick introduce
Yeah,
himself?
yeah, I think Nick did.
Yeah?
Yes,
Okay.
at one time or another.
I'm Jim Simons. I'm on the drums.
Brian Williams, stand-up bass.
I'm Bobby Henrie. I'm on guitar and vocals.
And a good job you did too.
Thank you.
Really enjoyed it.
Thanks.
Enjoyed all of your parts. In fact, we were talking about earlier about how I thought you had 3 different personalities, and that's what made the show, your show work. And there's more to singing than I mean, more to your singing, your job as a musician than just singing. I mean,
Yes.
there's a lot of entertainment going back and forth, and maybe we can talk about that a little bit later.
Okay.
But meanwhile, we do have
Yeah.
a mailbag that we want to get to.
We've been waiting for this mailbag for a while.
And, well, we've been waiting for these guys for a while too. So.
Yeah. Brian Williams, who is a stand-up kind of guy playing the stand-up.
Yeah,
Well, thank you, guys.
So this does involve the
Not sure what
stand-up.
that means.
Yeah.
but-
Well, here it comes. Is the slap bass style unique to rockabilly?
Well-
And then it goes on to say that it notices the bass players for the rockabilly tend to do a lot of funny things up there with the bass and moving around. So that's what the question was. And
Well, that's a great question. That's a great question, guys. I'm glad you held it for me. This slap style is not unique to rockabilly. Certainly, rockabilly players have taken it to a new place, but slap bass playing has been around since the early days of Dixieland jazz. It was first recorded in bands in New Orleans. Certainly Duke Ellington's band had some slap bass playing in it. Cab Calloway had a wonderful slap bass player in his band, Fats Waller. A fellow who I got to meet on a few occasions, Milt Hinton, was an outstanding jazz slap bass player. And there's some wonderful recordings of his playing, which I've listened to and learned a lot from. And the great blues bassman Willie Dixon, my mentor, who I learned to play bass in listening to his recordings, does a wonderful style of slap bass playing. But to be fair to your questioner's request, certainly, even though it's not unique to rockabilly bass, certainly rockabilly guys have taken it to a new level and have learned.
Especially you.
Well,
he's great up there. He puts on quite a show, and it really adds enthusiasm and just makes you guys kind of enjoy it more. And
Yes, he is slap happy, yes.
yeah,
we do get slap happy, but in a rockabilly band, everybody's got a very distinctive role, and we all got to do our job. And I'd like to think I'm doing the slap job.
well, you do a good job on the slap job, but as you were starting to say, there is a lot of movement involved and a lot of showmanship. And it seems like he's almost directing it to you sometimes, it seems like.
Yeah, we try to inspire each other, you know, we try to, push each other to go,
Right.
that's what, go cat go,
Yeah.
that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then you respond back to him sometimes too, once in a while.
Yes, when we're feeling spirit, yeah.
Yes,
That's what,
right.
rockabilly is supposed to, you're supposed to get that excitement. Of course, slap bass it's very prominent in rockabilly. It's one of the prominent features that needs to be there, for it to sound like rockabilly. So the moves, a lot of cats would get up on the bass, that you talk about cool moves, some of the cats like Bill Haley's bass player, used to get up way up on the bass,
Balance it or something, or how do you do that?
They get out in the upper bout there, and guys they spin it and then they get up on their backs. Some of the guys used to do a lot of those tricks.
Why
We
don't
don't
you
do a lot.
that?
A nice move is inviting young women from the audience to come on up and jump up on the bass while you're playing.
That's just something young cats
Next
do.
time you're here, I'll make arrangements for that.
That'd be real good, Ray. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, Ray, we have quite a few moves we didn't do on your show.
Oh, well, probably for good reason. This is a family show.
That's why your audience needs to come out and hear us.
That's right. And thank you, by the way, for the question. We lost track of.
Well, rockabilly's supposed to be very visual, so that's all a part about the bass player, doing as many tricks and cool moves that he can,
Sure.
To engender excitement.
Absolutely.
See, visual is very important.
For rockabilly. Yeah. But I don't remember, do you remember who wrote, did we get a?
No, I don't know if we kept the name or not.
John something.
I think it was. John Williams?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Williamson, I think it was.
Okay, all right.
Anyhow, let's get back to our.
Before we go on, the trio, is that the standard group that does this kind of music, or are there other variations you ever use?
Well, Bobby
Any
will
horns
comment
or
on that.
anything?
There are definitely different combinations of players for rockabilly bands, but the rockabilly trio, raw and mean and spare, is
the trio?
that's the kicking
thing.
thing. Format.
Well, we're kind of off of the mailbag now a little bit now, because I want to mention that I noticed, like you said, the trio, and
Before we move from the
yes,
mailbag,
we want to
though,
mention. If you want
Go ahead,
to
Ray.
write us, don't forget, for a question like this one that we just had, you can check the screen right now. It's got the mailbag or email even
we
on it.
implore you
to write us
to give us some
questions.
questions.
But getting back,
This is
it's so
right.
the sound is so full. I can't believe the sound that you're putting out on one guitar, and yet and it's really, but I'm under the bass. Kind of, the drums, of course, fill that up, but it is amazing how much sound from one guitarist gets with leads and rhythm and everything.
Yeah, so we talked about his question about being a trio. So ever since the Stray Cats, the guitar, bass, and drums made it. Of course, that is the bare bones that you need. But Elvis set the standard with rhythm guitar, acoustic rhythm guitar, electric lead, stand-up bass, and drums as the rockabilly quartet. That, so acoustic guitar adds that hillbilly element that you need in rockabilly. Which we, that was like that's the standard of a rockabilly lineup. I mean, Buddy Holly covered it, and a lot of the groups did. We have the bare bones. We don't have the rhythm. We just can't afford it.
But the bare bones are not. It's really
you're keeping the rhythm
Yes.
moving and
absolutely.
I find in a lot of different groups the difference between a so-so group and one that's right on is the rhythm is exact. The time is right there, and everything is happening and clicking. If you miss a beat or something, it's really noticeable.
We never miss a beat.
Yeah.
No.
And keeping it simple is a good way to do it.
Exactly right.
Yes, definitely.
You wrote 2 or 3 of the songs we did today, and
Yeah.
they really have that sound from years ago, that rockabilly sound. But you also have your own style in it too.
Yeah, well, borrowing heavily on influences, obviously, you know, from our heroes.
Right.
And, you know, trying to write songs within the style, but of course it's going to be unique to you because everyone's unique.
Sure.
So, but anybody who knows this kind of music will obviously recognize the influences and inspirations that I draw from.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's how music is written, is, you know, from recognizing other, you know, having influences from different type of.
Like one of the songs was like more in an Elvis style rockabilly song, and one is more like a Gene Vincent style song.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
You know, that's what I sort of set out to think. I'm thinking I want to sort of write a song like that.
Right.
So
Exactly.
you could probably tell that. So that's the stylistic traits, you know.
Well, you guys do play. Boy, you live quite a ways from here, and then one lives in Middlesex, one lives in.
I live the furthest.
The furthest, and then you live where? So you, Brian, where do you live?
I'm in Ionia, just over the Ontario County line.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So you're a distance now. That
We spend a lot of time commuting.
yeah, but
For work.
Yeah, right. So you work at all this area.
We're working all over.
And you do lots of festivals, or you do a festival or two, or whatever. And you want to tell us a little bit about some of the places you.
A good handful, yeah. The big one is the Grassroots. That's a big one for us. That this year, the 24th of July. That's a good one. Cornhill.
Just
Cornhill.
Cornhill, right? That was just
Cornhill,
this
yeah. That was a good one. Some of these local Rochester festivals and a few other good ones.
But you play for private parties too.
Oh yeah, plenty of those.
Weddings and bar mitzvahs.
Yes, we've done a lot of weddings.
Well, there's a lot of things that go into this rockabilly style, and it's the clothing too. Not just the things you do on stage that we already talked about, but the clothing too. Don't you kind of emulate the clothing of the 50s as best you can, or?
Well, Jimmy here spends a lot of time at Salvation Army, and he's wearing clothes from the 50s.
Yeah, he has a great collection of vintage clothes.
Talk about your clothing collection.
Originally, I outfitted the band with clothes.
From your old clothes that you used to.
From what I collected for years going
Right.
to the Salvation Armies. Unfortunately, all that's been picked through.
Yeah, you can't find good stuff anymore.
Oh my God.
If he managed to find it, but he's got a great collection of old stuff. But
Well,
we also try to find stuff that looks old, that's
Yeah.
you know, retro reissues. That's what we can do now. But
Yeah, I tried to play the part a little bit with what I wore, but I think, like
Look
I
like
said,
Mike Love.
I look a little bit more like
the Kingston
Beach
Trio there,
or something
Ray.
like that. I did the best I
like
could.
Brian
Sorry.
Wilson.
The four freshmen.
that's okay.
Brian Wilson.
1963. I like it.
But you know, what I had on was worse, so I thought this would be
That's
better.
right.
And so I wore it. But no, there's some real significant sounds you have, again, sounds of your own, but also the endings of your songs are tight. You seem to have things very well planned ahead of time as to how you're going to end a song or start a song. We had
Yes.
things like that. Is this something, you know, how do you find all these ideas for starting? It's got to be hard to do.
Well, there is the standard ending. Most
Well,
of these
yeah.
are just variations of the standard endings.
Variations,
But they,
okay.
yes, we have worked on our beginnings and endings. We try to do
Yeah.
that. That's the least we can do.
It does make a song sound more professional when you do that.
Yeah.
And
We're working on a bunch of songs now, and it's just a bunch of guitar intros.
right.
That's
There you go.
you know,
25 years later, and we still practice.
That's good. Well, I guess I just wanted to make sure that we covered as much about your group and where you played. I know you have an old, I don't want to say old because I don't know how old, but a CD that you had out for a while that is still selling real good. In fact, you have it, didn't you say? What are some of the places you
We're selling that CD at the Bop Shop in Rochester at Village Gate, and also Record Archive.
And that's got some of the songs that you...
We sang a song tonight on your show from that CD.
Yeah, we did a couple from that one, and yeah, we're working on a new one now that we're trying to finish up, and it should probably be looking like it be released in September.
Good, good. I'd like to... It'd be nice if someone could get you to show and do some of those. Now, you didn't do anything from that?
We did do a couple.
You did?
Yeah, a couple of those new ones,
they?
like the first one and the last one, depending on the order.
Right,
yeah.
right. It depends on the order. Well, I want to again thank you guys for joining us. And if you want to get any other CDs from you guys personally, or if you want to know any place that they are entertaining at, playing at, you want to give the website?
Yeah, Brian, you know.
And it'll be right on your screen in front.
That would be
right,
scrolling
exactly.
across the bottom of the screen there.
Do it.
www.myspace.com/Bobby, Henrie, and the Goners. That's spelled BOBBYHENRIE. Very important. HENRIE and the Goners. All one string of letters. Like it says on the bottom.
My Welsh,
exactly.
Welsh Henrie spelling.
There you go. Yeah. Well,
come visit that website. You'll get to hear some tune samples and see some photos of the band taken over our 25-year career together, and also a listing of where we're playing, where we've been, where we're going to be, and hope to see you all soon.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for joining us.
It's real gone.
It's really nice.
Will you
to
have us back?
Thank you.
Oh, we'd love to have you back. We had so much fun with you this time.
Okay, we won't trash your studio then.
Thank you.
Good, Ben. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks a lot.
And everybody, I hope you get a chance to see these guys live and in person. It's really exciting music. In fact, my wife and I got up and started dancing to it as you guys were performing here and everything. So everybody, we'll see you next show. Stick in there. And what do we say together? Don't touch that something?
No, that's later.
Oh. Okay.
You can say bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Time ago, looking at baby, looking low. It's a long lost boogie that is out of sight. If I could eat that, I'd be alright. It's the Gone Boogie, baby, it's out of sight. Going to move maybe out of town, 'cause two Gone Boogies can't be found. Long ago when the cats whose last had a real Gone Boogie that was going fast, far ahead, baby, off the edge, way too fast, I just can't get to Gone Boogie, baby, it's out of sight. No use of you hanging around, 'cause two Gone Boogies can't be found. Out of sight. Love to hear that crazy song where they get real going with every song. Over the edge, baby, off a cliff with a blue tone boogie and a swinging riff. Love to hear that crazy sound, but the two Gone Boogie just can't be found.
send me Jack and I can find that boogie and bring her back. Let's do Gone Boogie, baby, it's side to side. If I could only get it down, then the two Gone Boogie Woogie would be found.
You're watching public access television for Western New York.